What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bitcoin and Markets. Huge day in the Bitcoin market. We're going to go over price. We're going to go over what happened with Coinbase. We're going to go over some Senator Warren losing her cool over Bitcoin. And of course, look at all the charts, talk about price and all that. So welcome. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble. I'm also going out on Telegram. That's my main community, t.me/Bitcoin and Markets. Come over there and join us. I am feeling a little under the weather today, so it's going to be a shorter than normal live stream, but thank you for coming. Let's share the screen and get into it. Bitcoinandmarkets.com. That's where all my content comes out. I put out a Proton today. This is my premium newsletter that goes out to premium subscribers over there that supports my stuff. We talk about Bitcoin versus all-time highs in other major currencies. Put together this little table to show that. It has hit all-time high in yen, Australian dollars, Canadian dollars, and Chinese yuan. Very close in Hong Kong dollars as well. Pound, euro, all these are very, very close. The dollar and the Swiss franc are the ones that are kind of holding it up out of these top currencies that I picked. I could have picked something like Norwegian kroner or something like that, but I did not. Also, Bitcoin's M1, Bitcoin supply as M1 compared to all the different M1s in the world. It is coming in at number 10, so it is definitely a big player. We have flows and stuff before today, which I do expect today to have some major flows into the Bitcoin ETFs. We were sitting at 6.5 billion, just dumping some of my charts here that my guys over there get. And then I go into my Bitcoin forecast. We're going to look at the Bitcoin charts and stuff here in a second. Also, bmpro.substack.com. I write for Bitcoin Magazine on their Substack there. The most recent one was last week coming out, this analyzing the correlation between MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. Have had a market dashboard that came out yesterday. Pretty cool stuff actually on the market dashboard. So I'll just go through this quick so you guys can see what you can get over there. Decoding Bitcoin's on-chain metrics. We have some price metrics that aren't on a chart, but you can look at these and be like, okay, they're all trending up. We're all above all these moving averages. This is a bullish position to be in. Macroeconomic indicators. So we look at things like M2, global central bank assets, all of that stuff, break that down. Derivatives market. So from options, futures, and perpetual futures, kind of discuss that. Correlations, investment implications and strategies that you guys, just to recage you, not being too bullish here. We're going to go over that when we go over the price charts. And a weekly chart for them. Conclusion. That's what you get on the market dashboard over there at bmpro.substack.com. All right, let's go to the chart. and this is SP 500. I was doing a pre-show with the guys over on Telegram. Usually I spend 5 or 10 minutes with those guys to just talk with the community, give them something extra for hanging out in there and talking. This was probably a week or two ago. One of the guys in there, I took it as a very great compliment. So he said, he goes over to Twitter, he posts, and it's like going into the ether. But when you come to at least our Telegram, he gets 10 responses within just a few minutes, and so it is a very good community feeling. I recommend guys going over to t.me/Bitcoin and markets to join the community. Okay, right now we are sitting at 61,200. You can see the big wick on top of this candle. We did make it all the way up to 64,000. We touched 64,000, I believe. What was the high here on Bitstamp? Exactly 64,000. That's interesting because the all-time high on Bitstamp is exactly 69,000. So another round number. All right, so let's go a little bit onto a short time frame. And this was fun today. This was fun. We were live interacting there on Telegram, and I was starting to get a little uncomfortable as we were getting up here because, what goes up very quickly will come down very quickly in the investing world, at least in the stock market. And yeah, Bitcoin had this blow off. Coinbase stopped. Their system had a malfunction. I think they were overloaded on traffic. I don't know exactly if we'll ever learn what happened, but this happens all the time with Coinbase. They go down at the highs when we're pumping. Most of the time it's happening when we're pumping. And in the past, a lot of people thought it was somewhat suspicious because, Brian Armstrong is a big ETH head. He's a big altcoin fan. Coinbase is somewhat an enemy of Bitcoin. They're kind of cleaning up their act now, but they, if Bitcoin is running away from altcoins, maybe there could be a circuit breaker that fails, and that gives altcoins a chance to catch up or whatever the case is. There was some suspicion of that in the past. Now, this time, I don't think that happened. I do believe that they had massive traffic, but they should be able to handle it. I don't know why they would be, custodying billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, not just for their regular clients, not just for cold storage clients, but also for the ETFs. They're warehousing all of this Bitcoin, and yet they can't spend money to have massive, ability to scale with traffic on their website. It's a bad look for Bitcoin, in my opinion. But okay, if we go down a little bit more in time, we can see this hit right around noon, 12:15 Eastern time, and it fell pretty dramatically. Let's measure this out. So from up at 64,000 all the way down to the bottom, it dropped 8% in just about 10 minutes. Let's go to see Telegram, guys. That just popped up. Let's go down to the 1 minute and measure this out. So let's get the right measurement tool, and we'll go from this candle over to the top. 15 bars. So 15 minutes, it dropped 8% after rallying, 12% on the day. So that is a significant drop. One thing I wrote about on the Proton today was to be aware of, it feels like everything is aligning for Bitcoin. And of course, I've been saying this for months and months and months. The halving is coming. The ETFs are here. The type of clientele coming in, all of this, everything is aligning for Bitcoin right now. And the flows are coming in constantly every day, 100, 200 million into the ETFs. It feels like it can only go up, but there will be drawdowns. Do not go crazy long on leverage. And happened again. Do not go crazy long on leverage, especially when we're about to hit the all-time high here. and RSI is so high. So let's take a look at daily RSI. And I know a lot of people that watch, they don't like TA. That's fine. I don't care. It's a bunch of shelling points and whatever. Take it for what it's worth. But you can see we're up here at 86. We'll probably close the day over 86. Probably not to 87, but we have an hour and a half, so we'll see how much ground we can make back up. But that's very, very high. The last time it was this high was, well, I didn't have to zoom out that far, was back here in October when we really started taking off. But you can see when we hit these levels in October, we didn't fall. The price didn't fall, but it did consolidate in a tight range for a long time. Let's measure that out as well. So from this candle to where it consolidated and then finally broke out, the next kind of breakout was 39 days. I don't think we'll consolidate that long this time, but I expect something similar like this to happen, to cool off and allow the RSI to come down. We don't have much more room to go higher here. It's kind of putting a limit on where we can go. I do think that possibly hitting the all-time high, touching it, and then coming down for 2 or 3 weeks would give enough time to cool down. If we look at the weekly, similar. Let me hide this. So on the weekly, it is similar, very, very high on the RSI over where we were back here in early December. And October, that was high on the daily, was down here when it started ramping up. So we're still much higher than that. Now, in Bitcoin's history, you can see if we go back to here to the 2020 bull market, it got very, very high, up to 94 on the weekly, which is crazy high, crazy high. But we stayed up in the overbought territory for the entire rally. But we did have these big drawdowns here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So, by the way, for those that hate TA, here is a bearish divergence on the weekly. That is very, very strong. Could have called that top. Okay, this drawdown here happened in the middle, and it was 30%. It doesn't look like 30%, but it was. That's a 30% drawdown. I don't think we're going to see that now, but I could see a 15%. I mean, we saw 8% today, so I could see a 15% drawdown in the next coming weeks, perhaps after we hit an all-time high. Okay, so that is what I'm looking at on the Bitcoin chart. Big day. We can continue going higher. These vertical lines, for those that are new to my content, this is the possible banking crisis at the end of Q1. So the bank term funding program, is that right? BTFP from the Federal Reserve, that was launched last March with Signature and Silicon Valley and was it First Republic? All those banks went down. A bunch of banks were having problems, so they started this lending program called the BTFP. I can't get that straight. But it's running out, and they said they're going to stop it on March 11th is going to be its last day, and the balance really has not come out at all from that. Let me find that. Bank Term Funding Program balance. Fred. Okay. So here is this. You can see it starts here March 2023, pretty much March 15th, the week of March 8th. So that includes March 11th, which is when the 1 year mark that they're stopping it this year. That's when it got started, and really nothing has come out. So there's still 164 billion in this BTFP EFP program. And when is that going to come out? It's got to come out by March 11th. TikTok, 12 days. 12 days, this has to be not, I don't think it's going to be completely run out, but they are shutting the program down. So that is possibly going to lead to some sort of banking issues, banking stress, perhaps not like mechanical banking issues. My thing with the banking system is that there's not a lot of problems mechanically because they can print money. Banks can print money. They can lend to each other. So there's not going to be anything mechanical, like they can't meet their deposits or something like that, at least the big banks. What's going to happen is that it's a confidence game. And if people start losing confidence in marginal banks, funding is going to dry up for them. And that contagion can spread. So it is a psychological spreading of a contagion in the banking system, which stops the money flow, that causes the repo markets to freeze up, treasury markets to go bidless. The shadow banking system stops functioning. And the shadow banking system is much larger than what we can see. It consists of most of the plumbing of the system, the repo markets, tri-party repo, all of that, warehousing, and also rehypothecation. So a lot of people talk about 34 trillion in debt the US government has. So there's 34 trillion dollars worth of treasuries out there, roughly. And they're, people warn or people fearmonger that there's not going to be enough demand for those treasuries. But that's ridiculous because the shadow banking system rehypothecates treasuries 10 times or 6 to 10 times, something like that. So there is demand for 10 times as many treasuries as there are today. And one of the problems why we see yields falling in a recession is because as this contagion spreads, they don't want to rehypothecate. They don't want to either accept a rehypothecated treasury for collateral for a loan, or they don't want to lend it out. So those collateral chains shrink. And instead of getting a 10x multiplier, you get an 8x multiplier or a 6x multiplier. And that is trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars looking for a home, looking for actual treasuries. So they come out into the primary market and they will buy treasuries all the way down to zero. That is what happens in these recessions and stuff. But anyways, I don't know how I got on that. Oh, possible banking crisis. So last March, let's take a look at what happened last March. We can go to the daily too. That might make it a little more clear. And go to last March. So in the build up to the banking crisis, I don't have it marked on the chart here, but I don't know if Silicon Valley was having trouble here in mid-February and then Signature when they started having trouble. But as this trouble was building, Bitcoin was selling off. It could be due to the actual banks that it was, because Silicon Valley Bank was heavy into Bitcoin and into crypto, the shitcoins. Perhaps was it One Republic, First Republic, One Republic. I think that's a band. First Republic, I think, was also in to the Silicon Valley stuff, and so they had, that's what I think caused this sell off here. But we bottomed, and right when this BTFP started, Bitcoin rallied hard, very, very hard. So the actual banking crisis that they needed to launch a whole new program at the Fed, the effect of that was Bitcoin rallied 40% as a safe haven. So anyway, that's why I have on the chart here, why we have coming up the end of Q1 some sort of bank. And then, of course, we are having here in April. Don't know exactly. There are different countdowns that I'm looking at, but it's around 50 days until the halving. So, okay, that's Bitcoin. Let's quickly go over some macro charts. Did this also with Telegram, but good to do it here again. Go to the daily. So the dollar, I expect this to be range bound for the next couple of years, maybe a little bit higher, but pretty much range bound for the next couple of years. And we saw the dollar try to break out, but it got stomped down by this horizontal resistance that I've had on the chart for a while here. And it doesn't look very bullish of a candle. So that's what's happening with the dollar. 10-year treasury down on the day, 4.26. I heard there was a bear steepening. So let's go into treasuries and let's go to the 3-month, 10-year. And we'll make this a line to make it a little bit easier on the eyes. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. See the zero line here, and it's starting to come up, but this isn't much of a bear steepener. What's this one? 2-year. That's coming up as well. A lot of people are saying when we uninvert is when the shit hits the fan. And so we have to be paying attention to when these things uninvert. The bond market is the truth. It's not the stock market, but it is the bond market that is the truth. It is the primary mover of the world. It's 10 times larger than the stock market. So what the bond market says is real, and these inversions are real. They're going to lead to a recession. They will be inverted until recession. So that's that. Let's take a look individually what's going on with, say, the 3-month. Okay, the 3-month is coming down quite dramatic. It back on February 26th, it was 5.41, and it's down. I guess that's only 3 bips, but it's significant for how much on the screen it is here. Maybe not if we zoom out like this, but that's 3 bips. 3-month has moved down. Let's take a look at the 2-year, also down quite a bit. Let's see what this one is. 4.725 down to 4.644. So 10 basis points down on the 2-year, while the 10-year is not down as much. It is only down 4 basis points as well. So there is a little bit of a bear steepener between the 2-year and the 10-year, but still nothing significant to report there. Okay, let's go back to some of these macro charts. US oil, nothing significant here. Trying to break out, but got smashed down. I saw there was a large storage build, so that's going to affect the price negatively. S&P 500, still cruising, still going along my trajectory that I have been estimating for it to go on. I was telling Telegram, this is how I want Bitcoin to behave. I don't want Bitcoin to have these parabolic moves and crashes because, I'm not going to get hurt necessarily because I don't trade it, but there are going to be a lot of people that get hurt. It also gives fuel to negative headlines out there. We'll probably see something about this big 8% sell-off, but no mention of the 20% run-up over the last 3 days. So anyway, this is how I expect a more mature market to function, kind of just not in a straight line. It's wobbling, but it's going higher all the time. All right. I think we covered all the macro. Let's dive into some more things here. All right. So from Joe Consorti of Bitcoin Layer, he has his beautiful charts here. I guess he got this from Jason Seifert, but these are the Bitcoin ETF volumes, and damn, look at this day. So the previous high was back here at 4.6 billion, and we almost touched 8 billion in Bitcoin ETF volumes. That is probably going to translate into very high inflows. Yesterday's inflows were about, what were they? 5. Let me look at it exactly. Yesterday's inflows were $577 million. So that is this right here. And we're double that. Could we be over $1 billion in inflows today? Is that possible? I think it is. Um, oh my God, it could be over a billion in one day of inflows. That would explain why we're seeing a huge price spike. Crazy. All right. I wanted to go through some of the tweets that I had and then listen to a video or watch a video from Senator Warren. So, set my Proton out. This was interesting. Okay. So, this is a little video of Bitcoin transactions and where they are located or where they're happening. And look at that, guys. I guess you can't even see the background, but it's a globe. Let's see if I can zoom in. Okay, you guys can see that now. It is pouring into the US. I mean, Europe, Eastern Europe, or UK and Germany, it looks like they also have quite a bit going on. Looks like South Korea and Japan. I don't see much happening in China. That's interesting. But not much going on in Australia. Shout out to my guys on Telegram from Australia. I think there's 2 or 3. And not much happening in Africa and some in Brazil. This is pretty surprising, actually. I saw a line just there going into Brazil. So there is some action going on. But my reaction to this was I thought the global south was going to dominate Bitcoin adoption. I thought all of this was coming from the global south, and this was their chance to level the playing field, which is a horrible term. But, where's the global south here? I mean, the US alone is probably 50% of all of these flows. So anyway, that was my reaction to that. Let me zoom back. That was interesting. Eric Bakunis had a good tweet here. The trading explosion spilling into Bitcoin futures ETFs as well. Check out BitX, the 2x Bitcoin futures smashing its volume record with still. BitTo and BitI also headed toward record days. All told, 9 Bitcoin ETFs in top 100 most active, totaling 6.7 billion. For context, Apple has traded 4.5 billion. So this is a interesting metric. We'll have to continue to follow this. I don't think it's going to repeat over and over again, but at least it is showing a ton of interest in this asset. And yeah, okay. That was my chart this morning. I saw this on Twitter, and so I wanted to repost it. That looks like Jay Powell. I don't know if it is or if it's just his doppelganger, but that looks like Jay Powell in a sports bar. And I said, if you could ask him one brief question, what would it be? Does mayonnaise need to be refrigerated? How's Yellen? Who's John Galt? Does he travel with security? When cut? Why 2%? So, yeah, good comments there. I thought that was a funny picture. All right. This guy, Gareth Swalwell, is that his name? Yeah, Gareth Solowell. Anyway, he is continuing to short Bitcoin. Idiot. Let's see what we got. I wanted to get to Elizabeth Warren. And okay, sorry about this. There's Jay Powell again. Oh, this was interesting. So, all-time high for Bitcoin relative to inflation, or considering inflation, 76,000, not the 69,000 that we have on our charts. That would be interesting to do that for all these major currencies, like the Japanese yen. Yes, it's 20% above its all-time high now, or previous all-time high, but well, I guess inflation in Japan hasn't been that much compared to the rest of the world. Where would be a high? I mean, Europe has had high inflation, so we could look at versus the euro. What would be their all-time high? But yeah, Bitcoin versus the dollar would have to be above 76,000 to get a actual real all-time high. Okay. Also, yeah, don't forget offset, guys. Yes, it's nice to see the Bitcoin pumping, to see your value of your investments going up, but don't forget OPSEC. Number one, you don't want to be talking about how much Bitcoin you have. You don't want to be even talking that you own Bitcoin probably to your people around you that live around you. There was one thing here. Let me go down a little bit more. It was a reply though, so I don't think it's in here. What's his name? Edward Snowden had this poll, and he was asking about your Bitcoin, and people immediately pointed out that this is not a good question. This is a trap. Don't do this type of OPSEC, or this is bad for your OPSEC. So watch out for those. All right, this is Elizabeth Warren, and I just wanted to play this. I did share my audio on Telegram, so hopefully it comes through. So let's go with this.
I want to collaborate with the industry. What I don't understand is why the industry seems to be saying that the only way that they can survive is if there's plenty of space for the drug traffickers and the human traffickers, and the terrorists and the ransomware scammers and the consumer scammers and the rogue nations. North Korea is financing about half of its nuclear missile program with crypto, but all of that has to be left open. Keep in mind, in our financial system, pretty much everybody follows the same set of rules. I'm talking banks and credit unions and credit card companies, gold traders and stockbrokers.
Gold traders, maybe, but what about gold miners? Do they follow the same regulations?
Private equity now has to follow the rules. Precious metal dealers, Venmo, Western Union.
Bitcoin is not a company. Idiots, man. Bitcoin cannot comply, okay?
But not crypto. My view of the world is same kind of activity, same kind of risk, should have the same regulation. I'm not looking for fancier regulation for them. I'm not looking for anything tougher for them. I just want a level playing field here.
Well, guys, you don't have to KYC when you use $20 at the gas station, okay? So let's Bitcoin is electronic cash, right? Satoshi said Bitcoin is electronic cash. And you don't have to KYC cash. I mean, the bank will if you're trying to withdraw a bunch of money or you're trying to deposit a bunch of money. They might even try to ID you. But if you're just using $20 or $100 at a point of sale, they're not going to ID you and write your name down and KYC you. Bitcoin is cash. It should have the same regulations as cash. Okay. That was that. Let's see what I wrote about this. I said they're scared and in a huge hurry. The globalists know the ETFs are exposing everyone who matters to this asset. The thesis is super simple, and they're out of time. Pure panic as Bitcoin is about to rip. So there you go. That was my talk there. And that it had, let's see. Oh, I wanted to do monthly candle. I put this on my notes to do. So let me go back to the chart and go to the monthly candle. Oh, that's 2-week candle. Oh, no, that's month. Okay, so let's use this all-time high line to come down here. Highest close is from October 2021, and we are about at it. We aren't past it right now. Let's see, where did it close? It closed at 61,359, and we are at 61,380. So we are technically above it by just a few dollars. This would be the highest monthly close in Bitcoin history, a new all-time high monthly close. Let's see about weekly. I think there's only a few weeks that are higher than now. Let's see. Did this one close higher than this? Yes. This one closed at 61,539. 1, 2, 3. So 3 there. And let's pull this over a little more. None of over here. So 1, 2, 3 weeks closed higher than this week back in 2021, but we're getting close, guys. I can't believe it. It doesn't feel like we're this close to all-time high, especially when you think normies aren't even in yet, right? The Google Trends is still on the floor. It hasn't even ticked up. There's a lot of people tweeting about, hey, my barometer, which I use my sister as my barometer, who will text me when Bitcoin pumps and stuff. She hasn't been texting me. People have been tweeting out that their friends aren't caring about this yet. They haven't been contacting people yet. So the normies aren't even in. The FOMO hasn't hit. This is all driven by Wall Street. It's all driven by wealth managers, by BlackRock and their client education, their client meetings, Fidelity, and their products. You know, they are selling or their growth ETF products now include the Bitcoin ETF as a basket. So slowly but surely, everything's coming in, and we haven't experienced the big rush of FOMO yet. All right. So let me check the comments. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments down below. I'll check these out. Okay, 46 says, is there going to be a run-up, then a 75% correction again this time? I don't think there's going to be a big bear market like previous times. I think the ETFs are strong hands. They will sell. We were talking about this on Telegram earlier today. They will sell, but they will sell a lot slower than weak hands that just go on and either traders, maybe they're degen trading on 20x, 100x, or something like that. They're going to lose their Bitcoin pretty quick. But the ETF, it has to go through multiple steps to actually be sold and affect the market price. So it goes through the approved participants to the market makers to the OTC desks, then it can go onto the exchange, something like that. So there's multiple places for people to hodl along the way. The approved participants, the authorized participants, they can hold it. The market makers can hold it. They don't have to liquidate. They can just hold it for the next time when it's needed. They can hedge their exposure to Bitcoin on the downside. So there's all sorts of ways and reasons why a more mature market is not going to have as big of a sell-off. It's possible, but I think it's unlikely. Perhaps from the blow off top that we get this time, 40-50% correction I could see. Okay. 46 also, I'm with you in that you don't trade it either, but it's kind of devastating when we could have sold a top and reclaimed at bottom. True, but it's very, very hard to do that. Very, very hard to be disciplined and be able to do that. I've known people in the past, like I had a friend going back in Bitcoin, back to like 2015, I think, or 14, we met. And he timed the top very, very well in 2017, pretty much at the top. And then he said he was buying close to the bottom. And he was one of my metrics for actually the end of the bear market because he just had some sixth sense. He wasn't in it like 24/7 like I am either. So he just had this kind of bird's eye view and was able to do that. But yeah, it's extremely hard to pick tops and bottoms. Most likely you're going to sell the bottom. Okay. Any other comments? Let me check Telegram, see if there's any in there. Bunch of people. Weekly Ichi cloud is now green. Let's check that out. So are you using the extended settings or standard cloud? So this is the extended settings. So for Am I sharing this? Let me see. Yep, still sharing this. Okay, so extended settings. What that means is, let me open this up. So you have these different periods that dictate where these lines go, where the cloud is and stuff. The standard, I think, is 9, 30, 60, and maybe it's 20 or 15. I don't know, but this is roughly double. And I've been using this for a long time. Got this from Carpe Noctem on Twitter. He was a Bitcoin analyst going back years, a couple cycles. And he liked this because of the 24-hour nature of the Bitcoin market. You know, the regular cloud on those shorter settings are for shorter trading hours, right? So Bitcoin being 24/7 kind of had to shift the settings a little bit. But let's see what he's saying here. It did turn green right over here. So this is a good sign. This is a very good sign for Bitcoin. Lagging span is above price. TK is positive. Cloud is now green. Price is above cloud. This is all four. This is all four check boxes here. This is huge on a weekly. How long has that been since it did that? Let's see. So this would have been about right here. So really back in 2021 is the last time that all of these things were checked. May of 2021-ish. Right at the top. But if we go back here in history, let's go back to this one. I remember when Carpe Noctem was talking about this, and he was talking about the top of this cloud right here. And he was like, this is going to be a magnet for price. And I think he was talking about it like here or something like that. Back in February 2016, maybe it was even earlier. Maybe it was right when we entered the cloud. He was like, the top of the cloud is the next target. I mean, it took a long time to get there. How long is this? So we're on a weekly. How many weeks did it take? I mean, geez, it took 28 weeks to get from the bottom of the cloud to the top out, but we did it. And this was kind of my introduction to the Ichimoku cloud, was when he made that call. And it was damn good call. Anyways, so yeah, here, somewhere about here, we would have had the cloud turning green, price above cloud, lag span above price, positive TK cross, and price was above cloud. So it's similar to this setup. Let's see. I mean, it doesn't happen. It only happens when the bull market is on. Here, I think we would have broken back out here in 2019, or no, this is February of 2020. But if not for COVID, I still do believe that. So let me put a line on there or an arrow. I think we would have kept going here. So if we take this cloud off so it's a little bit easier to see, and we zoom out a little bit. Oh, damn it, arrow. Okay, so I think we would have seen something like this instead of how we got the sell-off and then it caught up. It would have been a much more smooth ride up than this kind of just blast off rocket shot there in October of 2020. It would have been a much more subtle rise if not for COVID. Anyway, that's beyond the point. Okay, so that was Ichimoku Cloud on the weekly. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. Let me go back to Telegram and see what else. Not sure if you saw this in the members group, but the price has historically consolidated for several weeks once it breaches the 78 fib. Oh, I didn't see that. That's very interesting. I'll have to take a look at that. Historically, also hasn't, this is small, I got to lean forward. Historically, also hasn't broken the 618 before halving. That is true. It's the first time it broke the 618. And let me bring that up. So, golden ratio, you know, in nature. So, this is what we have. The golden ratio of the entire cycle from all-time high down to bottom, back up here, 61.8. Retracement fib is right here. And the golden pocket is between that and the 2/3 mark. So between 61.8 and 66.6 is what traders typically call the golden pocket. And Bitcoin has retraced to the golden pocket before the halving, before each halving every single time, which is interesting. But it has never broken that. So if we, man, I don't know if I want to do this, but okay. Let's just go back and measure this one out. So this is 2017 top to the 2018 bottom, and you can see that that hit right in the golden pocket. June of 2019 hit right in the golden pocket, but it did not break it by the halving. And this is the halving right here. So that was that one. Let's go to this one in 2014. This is really the only other one we can use. And I guess we can use this total bottom one here. So if we go from the Mt. Gox top to this bottom here in January 2015, you can see it touched the retracement fib right there, right here, but it did not go through it. It touched it before the halving here in July of 2016. So June of 16, and halving happened in July of 16. And then it broke the golden pocket. So we have never in the history of Bitcoin halvings have we, or Bitcoin cycles, I guess, have we broken this area before the halving. That is a first. So this time is different in that way. That's for sure. Of course, we never even got close to challenging the all-time high before the halving, and that is extremely possible. That is my base case at this point, that we break the all-time high before the halving. Okay, let me see what other questions here. The white has appeared. The white. Is that because on Telegram it shorts out? Oh, maybe that is because, let me see. No, it should be, looks good right now. All right, anyway. Awesome to see the inflation adjusted price. Literally had a convo on it today. There you go, 76,000. Got to wait for tomorrow for the monthly close, leap year. Yep, that is the case. Tomorrow is the 29th. Okay, so right now we're pushing 61,000 again. Or sorry, 62,000, 61,800. But all right, I'm going to check one more time for comments. All right, super difficult to, that's why you stack and hold. Me too. Did we do some moon math yet? I haven't checked the moon math, but I have talked about stock to flow a lot in the past. I am a stock to flow guy still. I don't think it's perfect, but I think the idea, the reasoning is sound. It's just the model isn't perfect because the world's not perfect. What's all-time high of this cycle? I have a range, and I publish that on my Market Protons for paid members on the website. All right, that's going to do it for today, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Sorry I'm feeling a little under the weather, but I think we got a good episode in here today. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out bitcointomarkets.com, bmpro.substack.com, also for Bitcoin Magazine's Substack. and the Telegram, t.me/Bitcoin and markets. And that's going to do it, guys. See you on the next one. Bye.